there is a part of you that you've never met. A version of you untouched by fear, unafraid of failure, unbothered by opinions. Free. But you don't meet that version by staying comfortable. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This isn't just a quote, it's a warning. It means that the longer you ignore what's hidden inside you, your wounds, your fears, your true desires, the more they'll quietly run your life. And you won't even realize it. You'll think life just happens to you. But it doesn't. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a participant in a process, a transformation. One that begins the moment you decide to look inward. Every pain you've ever felt, every moment you doubted yourself, every time you pretended to be okay just to keep the peace, it wasn't meaningless. It was a message. And it's time to listen. Because what you repress doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits in the corners of your life, disguised as procrastination, perfectionism, self-sabotage. But those aren't flaws. They're clues. Carl Jung believed that wholeness is found not in perfection, but in the integration of all parts of the self. Your light and your dark, your strength and your weakness, your pride and your pain. You don't need to destroy the bad parts of you. You need to understand them. They were created for a reason. They served a purpose once, and maybe now they're holding you back. But they're still part of your story. And to truly move forward, you have to bring them with you. That's what real growth is. It's not pretending to be healed. It's facing what hurt you and choosing to rise anyway. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you already are. Underneath the fear, beneath the overthinking, beyond the self-doubt. There is clarity, there is strength, and there is you, the real you. Not the version that's been shaped by people-pleasing or perfectionism, but the version that existed before the world told you who you should be. The version that's been waiting. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It's never too late to come home to yourself, to remember your power, to stop living in reaction and start living in intention. You were never meant to be small. You were never meant to play it safe. You were meant to expand, to evolve, to embrace the chaos within you and mold it into something meaningful. Carl Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order." So don't run from your chaos, learn from it. There is wisdom in your wounds, there is power in your pain, but only if you're willing to face it. This is your invitation, to stop hiding, to stop waiting, to stop looking for permission, and to begin, right now. Most people don't even realize they're wearing a mask. You put it on to survive, to fit in, to be accepted. But over time, you forget that it's not actually you. It becomes your identity. You act how they expect. You say what won't get judged. You play it safe, because being real feels risky. But here's the truth. You can't be free and fake at the same time. Carl Jung said that the persona is a mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. Read that again. Your mask wasn't created to protect you. It was created to hide you. And as long as you keep hiding, you'll never feel whole. You'll keep succeeding and still feel empty. You'll be loved, but never feel seen. Because if they only love the mask, you'll always wonder if they'd love the real you. There is nothing more exhausting than living out of alignment. Pretending drains the soul. And every time you ignore what you truly feel, every time you silence your truth to keep the peace, You chip away at your inner self, piece by piece. But that self isn't gone. It's buried. Beneath all the roles you've played and the rules you've followed, the real you is still there, waiting. And the key to unlocking that self? It's not perfection. It's not people-pleasing. It's not productivity. It's honesty. It's courage. It's facing your own shadow. Carl Jung believed that your shadow, all the parts of you that you deny, suppress, or reject, holds incredible power. Not because it's evil, but because it's real. And anything real has energy. The anger you've never expressed, the dreams you've abandoned, the jealousy, the shame, the regret. They're not the enemy. They're invitations to explore what's underneath, to heal what you've ignored, to stop running and start integrating. Because the moment you stop fighting your shadow is the moment you begin owning your story. True confidence doesn't come from pretending to have it all together. It comes from making peace with the parts you thought you had to hide. It comes from radical self-acceptance, from saying, "This is who I am. This is what I've lived. This is what I've learned. And I'm still standing, still growing, still showing up, not because I'm flawless, but because I'm real." Carl Jung said, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries." So stop rejecting your imperfections. Start exploring them. What if your flaws aren't flaws? What if they're features? What if your wounds made you more compassionate? What if your failures made you wiser? What if your darkness taught you how to protect your light? You don't need to become perfect. You just need to become honest. Because real transformation begins when the masks come off. And when they do, you won't just feel more alive. You'll finally feel like yourself. If this message speaks to something deep in you, if it's reminding you of who you really are, then pause, breathe, and make a choice. To stop betraying yourself for approval, to stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. Leave a comment with one word that describes the version of you that's been waiting to rise. And if you're ready to step into your truth, like this video and subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. There's a reason you feel restless. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're broken. It's because something deeper is calling you. You weren't made just to survive. You were made to grow, to evolve, to become more than what the world expects from you. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. Not who they told you to be, who you are, underneath the noise, the expectations, and the fear." But to become that, you have to face a powerful truth. No one can give your life meaning except you. Not your job, not your relationship, not your achievements. Purpose isn't something you find, it's something you decide. It's born the moment you stop asking for direction and start creating your own. And the moment you choose to step off the path that others laid out for you is the moment you begin the process Jung called individuation. It's not about becoming special. It's about becoming whole. It's about reconnecting with the parts of you that got lost along the way, the parts you abandoned to fit in, the dreams you silenced to stay safe, the voice inside you that always knew there's more to this life than what you've been told. Individuation is the journey back to that voice. It's the path of becoming your true self, not a copy, not a brand, not a performance. Just you, fully expressed, deeply alive. And that path, it's not comfortable. It requires loss. It demands discomfort. It asks you to let go of who you think you're supposed to be, so you can discover who you really are. But that loss isn't punishment. It's permission. Permission to stop performing. Permission to rewrite your story. Permission to define success on your terms. Because the real you is not found in the eyes of others. It's found in silence, in solitude, in the small, courageous choices you make every day. You reclaim your life one truth at a time. You don't need a map. You need trust. You don't need more validation. You need more connection with yourself. Carl Jung believed that when you reclaim your own authority, you stop being controlled by outer forces. You stop chasing empty goals. You stop living for applause. You stop bending yourself into a shape that doesn't fit your soul. And you finally stand in something solid, not perfection, not power, but truth. You become grounded, rooted in who you are. And that's when everything changes. Your energy, your decisions, your relationships. They shift. Not because you forced them, but because you no longer live from fear. You live from alignment. You live from awareness. You become intentional with your words, selective with your energy, protective of your peace. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, and you start showing up, fully, honestly, unapologetically, not for attention, but because you're done hiding and done pretending. You are not here to live someone else's life. You are not here to play it safe. You are here to become the fullest, truest, most honest version of you. And that journey, it's worth everything.